Hello, thanks for coming into this live stream. I'm trying something new, but I'm not actually sure it's working. So, and I didn't have time to test it before. And what that is testing whether or not that mic level seems pretty loud, so maybe it is working. Is testing whether or not I can use Ableton while I live stream. How's everybody doing today? I have to kill that page for a moment. And so I don't have a real overall plan for today's live stream. I thought I would kind of leave it up to you guys. So I'm curious at this point whether or not you can hear this music if I hit play. So I have been live streaming on site. Tanya, how are you? I'm glad you made it in. Tanya, I was just thinking about you today actually because you said you lost your password or username to the site, and I'd like to make sure we get that solved today. Interestingly enough, the whole site is about to change kind of again because the way I was going is not going to work, which is a bummer. But hey, Tanya, would you mind doing me a favor just for a moment? Anyway, so what I was saying was I've been doing some live streaming on a site called Pocket Live, and it's been going really well because I've been able to run Ableton through the system, so people are actually hearing Ableton and not like some crappy version coming through my computer speakers, but actually hearing what's coming through my sound card. And so I've been writing a lot of tripfuse, a lot of new tripfuse stuff is being written, and I'm being able to share that with people as I'm writing. So it's really, really cool. And so in turn, to get that set up, I had to download this thing called Soundflower and download OBS, which is an open broadcasting service, which is supposed to work on YouTube too. And it's working properly on Pocket Live, which I'm super excited about. And I'll give you guys the link later if you want to. When I stream on Pocket Live, it's streaming differently than the YouTube streams, which I'm trying to keep very geared towards lessons. And the Pocket Live streaming is really just me writing. It's a really different thing. QB1980888. Hi, how are you? Good evening. Good morning. Well, it's afternoon here, but I realize I'm on the West Coast, so for everybody else, it's much later. Where are you, QB1980888? Tanya, you're in. Wait, let me gonna. Oregon? Am I right? Oregon? You tell me if I'm right. So Tanya, could you just tell me really quick if you hear this, or QB198? I'm just gonna hit play here, and let me know if you hear this song. Anything? Check 1, 2. So it is playing right now. If you don't hear it, then it's not working. I'm just gonna check. I have the duet coming in, and the reason that I don't think, no, you don't hear it. Ronnie, I'm so glad you made it in too, because I got your email also, and I want to tell you, Ronnie, I know that it's like 1 in the morning where you are, right? In India, is it 1 in the morning there right now? So, and I know I'm going to have other live stream times. I promise we'll find something that works more for you. The reason at the moment I'm just doing it at 1 on Saturdays for a little while is I was testing a lot of different things, like streaming daily, streaming different times, and it was all very much a big hit or miss. So for just a little while, I'm going to do Saturdays at 1, every Saturday at 1, okay, for like, I don't know, a month or something. But I'm going to give you guys the Pocket Live link because you'll see that. QB198, it's 10 p.m. there. Okay, 10 p.m. there. So what is that? It's probably like London or somewhere over there, I'm guessing, right? Because let's see, if it's 1 here, it's 4 p.m. in New York and on the East Coast, and then it'd be like 9 p.m. I think in London. So not in London. Anyway, yeah, so bummer you can't hear the sound, and I had a feeling you weren't going to hear the sound because when I set it up with Pocket Live, it asked me where I want to bring the sound in from. So I bring it in from this thing I created through the OBS, the Open Broadcasting Service, which I know works with YouTube, but I must have missed. Oh, Brussels! Hey, Brussels in the house. Cool. That's awesome. Yes, Ronnie says 1:35 in the morning, and you're up, Ronnie, for the stream. I appreciate that big time. And I promise I will find other times to help you out so you don't have to stay up so late to watch my streams. Yeah, so anyway, so I don't really know. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this sound thing right at this moment with everyone on here because, so when I do it with Pocket Live, once I open up, which is basically just using my FaceTime camera, as is YouTube streaming. So it's essentially the same camera. But when I go onto Pocket Live, it gives me an option to test my sound and ask me where I want the sound to come from, right? The laptop microphone, my Duet, which is my audio interface, or this thing I had to download called Soundflower. And it has to be set for sound to Soundflower for the sound to work. But it is so cool because people are hearing like, and I want to share that with all of you guys too, like so bad. It's going to make for such fun lessons because we can have jam tracks. We can be building jam tracks as we go. So like if we're talking about arpeggios today, as I was gonna do a little lesson on arpeggios today, unless somebody has something they're more interested in. I thought arpeggios might be a good place to go. And I thought specifically we'd work on this D major in second, and I'll expand on a whole bunch of really cool ways for depending on your level of playing. Arpeggios are such an important part of learning the guitar. Really good for building technique. Maybe more importantly than building technique, they are very, very important for training your ear. It's also learning theory because you're learning what notes belong to what chords. You know, so if we're talking about a triad, there's only 3 notes in a triad. You know, so if we're talking about a C chord, it's just a C, E, and a G. So if we're playing a C arpeggio, C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G. You know, so it's an easy way to like, oh, a C chord is made up of a C, E, and a G. And there they are, ta-da. I should maybe play the acoustic, right? This is probably too quiet. Or do you hear this plugged in? I don't know. I should have done some testing beforehand. I didn't get, oh wait, I'm just gonna, if I go into the Duet, no, I have the Duet set up exactly as I have it set up for streaming on Pocket Live, so I don't think that's the problem. The problem is more to do with that this never asked me how to, hey, Akshay? Yeah, you too. I'm glad you made it in. Little live streaming time with not a real big agenda here. We are going to try to do something though. We're going to try to learn something. I have some ideas. What I was really hoping was I was going to be able to share all these sound files with you, which I cannot. Oh, and this computer will not get online, so super. What's up with that? Okay. Well, then I'll have to just, actually, maybe it's even easier to do it on here anyway. So I'm just going to copy and paste a page for you guys really quick. So we can, you can see what I'm talking about. Arpeggios, musiclearning.com. Making a new page. I have so much stuff happening at the moment with the site. It's kind of bonkers. And I'll probably explain it a little bit, but basically what was happening, hold on, just bear with me for one moment. I'm just gonna, so I can give you guys the link here. I'm actually sending you to an old page that is not part of the new site. And let me just see what's at the bottom of that page to become a member. I don't know, we'll have to talk about that before you click on that. Okay, here we go. Wait, I'm gonna post the link. Okay, there we go. See if that works. Somebody can try opening that and see if it works. Guitar sounds okay? I have a feeling that the guitar is running through this, as is this mic. If I get closer to this mic, does this sound different now? Or does it sound the same? It should sound very different. If it still sounds the same, then it's my laptop mic picking it up, which means that the laptop is also just picking up this guitar. I love this guitar. I don't play it enough. It's going to come out for a lot more lessons here in the near future. Okay, well, let's do the lesson. Wait, maybe I can test to see if that link works. It does. Sweet. Oh, holy cow. Could I have enough pages opened? So if you click on that link, it's going to take you what we're about to work on. And what happens if I play the files from this page? Tell me if you hear this. You guys hear that? Because I'm not playing. That would be... It's okay if you don't. It's on that page, so... Akshay, I'd like to know how to say your name. Akshay? Akshay? We're a little drunk at the moment, but I want to say I love you. That's awesome, man. Thank you. That's super sweet. Or is that a girl name? I don't know if that's a boy name or a girl name. I'd like to know how to pronounce that name. If you have any way to help me pronounce that name, would be great. Akshay? Akshay. That's what I would say. Akshay, and I don't even know. Is that a real last name? On YouTube, the guitar sounds also great. Good, good, good. Thank you. Yeah, the sound wasn't working on YouTube. That's okay. I didn't think it would. So, all right. So I tell you what, let's have a little bit of fun with this arpeggio. Tanya, I need to be on Akshay's level. Yeah, probably it might make for a more fun live stream, probably for myself included. The cool thing about me, since my gig ended, right? And you know what I was just teaching the other day to a student? I was teaching this. I'm going to get us way off track, but hear the sound of the pouring rain coming down like an Armageddon flame. The shame, the one who died out the name. It is a guy name. Yeah, I thought that was a boy name. Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad you got a little alcohol in your system and are feeling good. Anyway, what made me think of that, we were talking about alcohol, and I that was a song I used to play at the Roxy probably like once a week. I was there for 6 years playing 3 nights a week, sometimes 4 nights a week, sometimes even more when I was subbing for the other band. So I played a lot. Anyway, but now that has ended, and now I don't play that song anymore live. Akshay, that we did say it right. Yay! Akshay, cool. So it's just kind of sad. That's kind of cool too. If anyone has any interest in learning that, these are called tenths, and they're a very interesting sound. You know, we talked at the beginning of this stream about a chord being made up of 3 notes, right? And what I did not say, it's made up of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th degree of a scale. So if we're talking about a C chord, we said like a C scale would do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So C is the 1st, D is the 2nd, E is the 3rd, so we want the E. F is the 4th, G is the 5th. So by taking the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of that scale, we end up with the notes of a C chord, C, E, G, and if I put them C, E, G, I have a C chord, or the way we know it like that a lot, but there's a lot of different ways we can play C chords on the fretboard. A lot of different ways we can play C chord. Anyway, we all have alcohol in our system, I guess. But anyway, yeah, bring me back on track. These are tenths. So the tenth, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I started to be like, what are we doing? So tenths, a tenth is the same as a third. So for example, remember we went C, D, E was the third. If I go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, remember I have to go C, D, E, F, G, there is no H, so I have to go back to A, B, C, D, E. Notice what E was? It was 10 higher. So E is a third, but it can also be called a tenth. And in this particular case, we would call it a tenth because of this interval. So anyway, that Green Day song is that's all in tenths. And it's kind of a cool sound. So it's notes from the chord, but we hear it differently because of this intervallic relationship would be the word we would use. I feel good and it's great to see you. Oh, I'm so glad you're on here, Akshay. That's awesome. I'm glad you're feeling good. And I'm glad that you've learned some stuff from me. Yeah, the A7 chord, was that from the last live stream when we were talking about like all the inversions of A7? It would be, we can actually tie this lesson into that A7 stuff too if you want. Because in a way it will. In fact, I will show you a way that we will tie it into it. Anyway, so we've kind of all over the place, but we were talking about alcohol in the system, and that made me think of the Roxy, which just ended for me, and that place involved a lot of alcohol in the system. A lot of good times and a lot of fun, but in a lot of ways I'm pretty glad it's over. And anyway, and now, so that my last night there was April 7th, and since April 7th to now, which is pretty good, I've only actually had one shot of Jaeger at one of the gigs I've done since then. But yeah, so which, not that I have any problem with putting alcohol in the system, because I don't, because I did that a lot. I have lots and lots of fun, but for me, I did it for a lot of years, and it was getting a little bit hard on my system. So I'm pretty good to go for a little while here with a little less of it in my system. So anyway, those are tenths, that Green Day song, and I thought of that because I don't play it anymore. And every time now I hear a song that I don't play, that I played so many times for so long, it's weird hearing it. It kind of makes me sad. Kind of makes me sad. QB. A lot of good time, but less alcohol. Otherwise, everything sounds great. Yeah. Balance, right? Balance. Okay, so let's do this. I want to show you a D major arpeggio. So I gave you the link. You'll have to scroll up a little bit on this page for the link, or I could just paste it again because it's still in here. I'll paste it again if anybody cares. That way you don't have to find it. Wait, did it go? Did it go? I don't know. Did it go? It went, eh? Why does it seem like didn't go? I don't think it did. Enter. There we go. Okay, there. It's there again in case. So you don't have to scroll. Yeah, thanks, Tanya. It's a slippery road. I think I've actually been blogging lately, and one of the things that I've been blogging about, or I started to, I guess I didn't post it, I'll post it though, but just about some of the things about being a professional musician that have in a way done a lot of damage to me mentally and how I think about things. But we're not going to go all down that road right now. I know one of the last live streams we got into some mental health issues, and which, you know, it's good to talk about, and I think it was a really good live stream for that reason. But yeah, this one we're gonna, if we can, we'll stay on track here. Oh yeah, QB, so you learned, I remember now. I remember, you're much a beginner, but you learned a lot from that live stream. Yeah, and that live stream I think was geared for players who played a little bit longer, a little more, right? So fantastic that you're picking stuff up. So this lesson, what we're about to do here, will be for beginners and intermediate, and actually some advanced players, because they may not know that they may play this already, but may not know the theory behind it, or may not know how to use it. So actually, I recently subscribed you after watching your guitar lesson of Hey There Delilah. Cool, it was awesome. I have been playing it since a few days now. Yeah, it's a good one, right? That's a good one for playing and singing too. Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. You're welcome. Times Square can't shine as bright as you. I swear it's true. Anyway, I need water. Okay, so let's jump in. So I put the link on the page here. Right, so anybody just coming in, there's a link. Just scroll. Look, the tripfuse, the little crown is in the thing, and you can grab that link. It's actually to one of the older pages on the site. It's not moved into the new system yet. I'll have to explain more at the end of the live stream about what's happening there, because it's kind of crazy. And some of you that have been in here know, but I'll explain even more changes. And it's a bit bonkers what happened. It's okay. It's all good. 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 Okay, so this D arpeggio, let's do it. So first thing I want to say before we actually start playing it is this is actually going to be this C chord that you probably know, your open C chord, right? You know that one. I'm gonna assume we probably know that one. If I were to take this chord and move it up one whole step, and if you remember from some of my other streams, or if you follow me around, yeah, Ronnie, this is going to be the D major in second position, but I'm going to go a little further. And I'm going to show you some ways of moving it around the fretboard. So if you already know the one in second, there'll be other stuff here that'll be worth sticking around for too. That'll be new and different. But yeah, it's going to be the one in second. I have a feeling, Ronnie, you maybe already done that on my site or something, right? And I'm so excited about what some of the stuff that's happening with the site. So I was working on it earlier this morning. And I'm going to stream on Pocket Live later today with some of the writing stuff. So don't let me forget to tell you guys that, because I guess for you, Ronnie, that'll even be later though. But if I did it at, say, 8 o'clock tonight, it would be like 8:30 for you tomorrow morning. Okay, so if I take this C chord and I move it up a whole step, it becomes a D chord. And if I put like a capo on my first fret, I could actually just play that C chord here and we would hear D. Or I can leave these three fingers where they are. Sorry, I'm going to move the finger. I'm going to leave the notes the same. All I'm going to do is where my first finger is, I'm going to put my second finger. Where my middle finger was, I'm going to put my third finger. And where my third finger was, I'm going to put my pinky. So it is still a C chord, right? Like this. We don't usually play a C chord like this in open. Wouldn't make a lot of sense, but it's the same shape. I'm bringing it up a whole step to make it a D, right? Everybody good with that? And I'm popping that first finger in to play. It can bar and play the first and the third string, so I'm barring across all three, which is actually just an F sharp minor triad, if anybody cares. If you just bar your finger across any fret, it's a minor triad, and the name of it is wherever your first finger is. So if I'm on the 5th fret, that's an A. That's an A minor chord, B minor chord, C minor chord, D minor chord. Neat. D sharp minor or E flat minor, remember? You can call that either because that's a D and that's an E. So in between, it has two names, D sharp or E flat, and call it either. Kind of neat. Okay, off track a little bit, but okay, so I'm barring my first finger across that 2nd fret. I'm going to drop those in for basically that C chord shape. And I get a D chord. Essentially, it's your open C chord shape. I've moved it up a whole step and I'm barring. You can even bar the whole thing and have this F sharp on the bottom. Now, mind you, if you put the F sharp on the bottom, technically we'd have to call it D/F sharp. It's a slash chord. Because if we just call it a D chord, then we are going to say that that is the root, the lowest note we're hearing is a D. If we're hearing something other than the root in the bass, then it's ideally supposed to be called a slash chord, so D/F sharp. Okay, so that's arpeggio, so that's our chord. Now an arpeggio is just a broken chord, so I can just hold this chord and I can just go, right? My pick up and down those strings, or if I feel like finger picking it. So I can come back and do that on my C chord. Or with my pick. Now I just want to say really quick for everybody in here watching, these streams are for you watching. I know I have talked a lot about the rebroadcasts of the streams and leaving them up online. Most of them I have taken off of YouTube, but they're still available to see on the site. and if you register for the free part. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute because something has changed there. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And then Tanya, that we have to talk about your password because that's what you're missing. And we'll figure something out. I'm not. Sorry, sidetracking myself. What got me thinking of that? Da na na na. I don't know the words to the song, but I know it's Fleetwood Mac. I always think it must be funny when people come into these streams when I'm completely just being an idiot. Okay, so we took our open C chord, we moved it a whole step, right? We said it would be a D. Oh, check this out too, just really quick. If we move that C chord up and we don't bar it, look how pretty this is. Isn't that pretty? So that, oh wait, we got some other stuff going on here I gotta explain. I'll come back and I'll explain what's happening there that makes that so pretty. So Ronnie, we answered your question. QB, I must say that a pick is a massive amp as well, but I like finger picking so much. Yeah, it's good to play both ways. In my opinion, it's good to be able to finger pick and be able to use a pick because there's things with a I wouldn't be able to pick that. That's be impossible to pick. And then at the same time, you know, those David, you made it in! I'm so glad you made it in. That I wouldn't really be able to do with my fingers. Not very well. I mean, maybe. But anyway, I'm pretty big on playing with both. Actually, hey Teague, what's an arpeggio? So an arpeggio is a broken chord. I know how to play the guitar. I've been playing it for 4 years now. But I don't need these technical terms. Well, that's cool. Then you're in the right place for these technical terms, right? It's good to know them for sure. How are you, David? I'm glad you made it in. That's awesome. Much faster than fingers. Yeah, for the most, but depending on what we're talking about playing. So anyway, so to answer your question, QB, and about an arpeggio is just a broken chord. We've talked already in this live stream quite a bit about a lot of different chords, right? We're talking about this open C chord. But we also just went to talking about if you just bar your finger across strings 1, 2, and 3 on any fret, that is a minor triad, a minor chord. A triad is 3 or more notes. A triad is 3 notes. A chord is 3 or more. So I can call this a triad or a chord. If I add a 4th note, I'm going to call it a chord, not a triad anymore. But so if this is an A minor chord, which it is, just barring my finger across the 5th fret, I could also play it like that if I wanted, right? 1, 2, 3. So an arpeggio is just breaking that chord up. Instead of playing it like this, I'm just going to play the notes individually. And that's all an arpeggio is, a broken chord. There's a lot of different ways we can play an arpeggio. So, so we can play it with a chord that we know and break it that way. We can move arpeggios across the fretboard. So if you remember what we said, a chord is only 3 notes. So a C chord is made up of a C, E, and a G. The 1st, 3rd, and 5th of a C scale, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The reasons we want to, you know what's interesting about music theory? There's only a handful of things that we really need to get our head wrapped around for the whole world to open up as far as playing the guitar. And I think that is something that I've been working very hard to do on the site all these years, is to try to be able to let people know, not scare people away from this little bit of theory, but letting people know that there isn't really that much. We just have to understand basically how a major scale is, which is built, which we then learn a minor scale is very close. And then there's other scales like melodic minor, harmonic minor stuff, which are fun to learn, but we don't hear them that often. I mean, again, there's a harmonic minor. It's not that we don't want to know them. We do. Melodic minor. We just don't hear them as much as we hear major scales. and minor scales. Oh, and Ronnie, you also asked the question about 3-note per string scales, did you not? Was that in your email? I think that's what you emailed me. So I'd like to address that for you too. I actually have some pages set up on the site for that. And at the end of this stream, I'm going to explain some of the stuff happening there too, because there's changes from even the last time I live streamed, which I know is crazy, but I'll explain it in a minute. Anyway, Ronnie, if you're still on, you can let me know about the 3 notes per string scale, and we can briefly touch on that too. So hopefully, QB, that answered your question. So arpeggio is just a broken chord. This arpeggio? Yeah, that I like to call those movable arpeggios. I'm moving them through across the strings. I'm basically moving one arpeggio from strings 5 and 6 to 3 and 4 to 1 and 2, but it's actually the same. So in other words, I'm going C, E, G on 5 and 6, and then I'm going C, E, G on 3 and 4, and then C, E, G on 1 and 2. So yes, to answer your question, it's different octaves, just 3 octaves. So I'm going to come right back to that, Ronnie, in just a second. Let's go back to the D major in second, and then we're going to connect that to the one I just did. Does that sound pretty good? So, okay, so we've answered what an arpeggio is. It's a broken chord. We've talked about chords being built from scales, right? We've talked about some basic music theory that, you know, understanding it opens up all kinds of doors. So let's go back to this arpeggio. So again, the link, you know what, I'm going to post it again just because there's people coming in and out constantly here, and I want it just to be easy for people to, they don't have to scroll up to get it. So that link that I just posted, everyone, is the page that we are looking at together right now that we are all on. And don't get scared by the music notation. Some people are like, why don't I use tablature, you know, tabs? Why all the music notation? Because, and I've explained this before, but to me, I want to know that the 5th fret of my A string is a D. I don't want to know that as number 5. And it isn't that difficult. And again, the same thing with the site. I've worked very hard to make it so you don't have to read music, but you are actually looking at real notation files. And even if you're not understanding them completely, stuff is sinking in. Like that's just, you know, it's like, it's inevitable that when that stuff is put in front of us, we're going to grasp some of it. We are over time, even if we're not specifically working on learning how to read music, we're going to start figuring out stuff. It's going to happen. So I'm not a big fan of tabs. I mean, I get their place. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I completely understand their place. But I just want to know the 5th fret of my A string is a D. I don't want to know it as a number 5. That's it. But Juby, yes, tabs make it a lot easier for sure. And I think when we want to learn a song or something, if we don't know how to read music, we don't really have a lot of options other than tab or finding a video lesson on it, right? But as far as I'm concerned and musiclearning.com is concerned, I want to teach standard notation. So I want, anyway, and then so if you're on that page with me, you can see that, so it's not that difficult at this point. Like ignore the thing at the very top of the page. That's a C arpeggio, but if we scroll down a little tiny bit, and we see a fretboard, and we can see that the lowest note, so I have the notes written on the fretboard as a D, the 5th fret of the A string. Well, on the staff, in exercise number 1 there, titled quarter notes, that's the D. No, we don't need to look at that note and go, oh, well, I don't know what that note is. Well, now you do. It's a D. It's the bottom note of that arpeggio. And then the second note is F sharp. So if you look at the fretboard, you can see the 4th fret of your 4th string says F sharp. And if you look at the staff, again, even if we don't know that that is an F, it has the accidental in front of it, right? The pound sign, sharp sign. That's our F sharp. So even if we're not looking at those notes and actually making the connection, and it's still helping us in the long run. In a lot of the newer lessons I'm doing, I'm actually writing the note letters underneath the notes so that it would say D, F sharp, A, D. I've been doing that a lot lately to make it easier, and I'll probably continue to do that, because I still would rather do that than tabs, because that way we're still looking at standard notation and we're looking at rhythms. Tabs that have rhythms are not too bad. I at least like that they have rhythms. Tabs that don't have rhythms really kind of irritate me. And because to me, the single most important part of music, no matter what style of music we're talking about, from classical music to metal, to jazz, to rock, to pop, to country, rhythm. It's the cornerstone of everything. So, and when we're not learning rhythm, and we're seeing rhythm on a tab sheet, it's difficult. I mean, yeah, anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that, but that's why. So don't worry about being able to read that music, though. All we care about really is that fretboard graph. And you'll notice there's an MP3 player there. This page is getting moved over to the new look. So if that MP3 player is not working, don't worry. This page should be up by the end of today. And this link will be in the description. The new link will be in the description. So I have the 5th fret of my 5th string to give me a D, the 4th fret of my 4th string to give me an F sharp, the 2nd fret of my 3rd string to give me an A. That's our triad right there, D, F sharp, A, the first 3 notes of a D scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And again, if that's like, whoosh, I don't know what he's talking about, that's okay. That's where the site comes in, and you'll be able to get in there for free and go through some of the stuff so it starts to make sense. And if you decide you really want to up it, you can become a member and start hanging out on the regular with me and everyone in there. So D, F sharp, A, then we're going D, the 3rd fret of our 2nd string, F sharp, 2nd fret of our 1st string, high A on the 5th fret of our high on our 1st string. And this is a D arpeggio. So if I play it all like that, I have a D chord. If I play them separately, I have a D arpeggio. I can leave them down and it will ring, or I can lift each finger up and off so I get a very distinct sound. And you'll notice in number 1 exercise, I'm showing to sweep pick it, we would down, down with the pick, down, 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 up on the A, pull off, up, 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 up. You notice the pull off is that little line. It looks like it's called a slur. So you'll see an upstroke, and then you'll see a note that does not have a pick pattern above it. That's the pull off. Some magazines and stuff will write pull off. We'll have a little P, but it's not necessary because that's what a slur means. So, okay, so this is our D arpeggio, and then again, if those MP3 files are working, I basically have us going through. I'll just put the metronome on. What I don't have written on that sheet, I'm guessing the metronome is set to 60, but I don't have it written, and I don't know if that's where it is or not. And because of the way I have my system set up at the moment, I actually cannot hear those files. I don't know if you can hear them. Hopefully you can hear them. I cannot. Okay, I'm just setting my metronome. So again, anybody just coming in, we have a link in the description. We're following along on the page. We're playing a D major arpeggio in 2nd position. Let's crank this metronome up. So a quarter note, I'm playing with the click. You don't have to sweep pick this. You could alternate pick it. Once it starts getting fast, it will be very hard to alternate pick it. Rest. So notice on beat 4, so that was exercise number 1. Notice on beat 4, we have what's called a quarter note rest. We're not playing anything. And then it repeats, so you would do it twice. There's an MP3 file there for anybody who wants to play along with that. Is the link still visible? Yeah, so the link's still there. Anybody coming in wants to join along here and follow along. So we're moving on to exercise number 2, 8th notes. Same pattern, same arpeggio, but if this was my quarter note playing with the beat, I'm going to double it for an 8th note. So now I have and then notice that one has just an 8th note rest at the end to make it, and I put it in 6/4 so I could fit it all in one measure. Let's not get too worried about that right now. Let's move to number 3. So my metronome's still set at 60 beats per minute. Now we have 8th note triplets. We're putting 8th note triplets, 3 evenly spaced notes in one beat. So if this was, I'm just going to on my low E. Actually, I'll do my D to keep us in the same tonal center. So my quarter note. Right, my 8th note I double, 1 and 2 and 3 and Now my eighth note triplet, I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Some people like to count it like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. That's another option. I've always kind of gone to triplet, triplet. But notice the biggest thing is they have to be steady in there, right? Evenly spaced. These are called our eighth note triplets. Anybody just coming in, there's a link here in the description under with the little crown. You'll see Tripfuse, which is me. Well, it's my band, but the channel is long story there too. Let's okay, eighth note triplets. So we're going triplet, 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 triplet. Yeah, eighth note triplets. Then we're going to move to 16th notes. So remember how we did our quarter note on the beat. Eighth note, we doubled it. And then we did our eighth note triplets. But we're going to move to 16th notes right now. We're going to double that. Sorry, I was thinking about eighth note triplets for a minute. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or the way we really want to count it, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. So our now you'll notice in that example we're on number 4 on this page, the 16th notes. I just have a 16th note at rest at the end, and I put it in 3/4, so we would go 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and rest, 1 E and a, rest. Well, I could have written it in 4/4 and then had a quarter note rest on beat 4, so you'd have a 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and 4. Tick, 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 tick. That would have been an option too. I didn't, but it would have been an option. And then there's only one more on the page. For anybody that was not sure of fingering, the fingering here is on the page 2. It's below exercise number 5. So the fretboard that I had at the top was to show you the notes, and I have the guitar sitting horizontally instead of vertically, as we see in a lot of chord charts. And anyway, so now where are we at? What I did not do is quintuplets, which is 5 notes evenly spaced in a beat. And we should do those, but we don't hear them as often. So that's why I didn't put them on the page. But that'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those would be quintuplets. And worth practicing too. We just don't hear them as often, so I didn't put them on. But I did put 16th note triplets, which is now putting 6 notes evenly spaced in the beat. So in other words, triplet, 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 triplet. Now I want to show you something about 16th note triplets. I can slow the metronome down. That can sometimes help. Remember, we're at 60. We're playing 16th note triplets at 60, which would be the same as 8th note triplets at 120. So we have a few different ways we can look at how we would practice this. But I just want to show you something that is very important. So in other words, I could slow my metronome down to 50 if I'm finding this too tricky. But I could go back to my 8th note triplets, which we said would be the same if the metronome was at 120. I could drop the metronome back to 100. I'd still be working on essentially the same exercise. But here's the thing with those 16th note triplets. When you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's that high A. Wait, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. It's actually the pull off to that F sharp. That's the start of the second beat. Triplet, triplet, tick, 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 tick. So I know we don't normally pick the F sharp because we've been pulling it off. But to get your ears in that place where you're playing that in time, you may want to just do what I just did and pick that F sharp at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Just so I can make sure that I'm playing 6 notes evenly spaced in one beat, and then that F sharp fall. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense. Interesting. Okay, so we're just going to go for a little bit longer, and feel free to throw any questions my way whatsoever, because the whole point of these live streams, versus me just doing a lesson is to interact with you guys and to help you guys with anything you might be working on. Guys and girls, I should say. So very, very important, right? So I don't want, otherwise, if I just wanted to put this material up there, I would just make a video lesson and put the material up there. But the whole reason to do the live streams really is about connecting with you all and sharing in this musical journey and having fun. And some of these live streams, for people that have been here before, sometimes they go very different directions because I have material planned, but if people aren't really into that material that are in the stream, then, you know, I don't know, somebody's like, hey, do you know? And the next thing you know, we're doing something totally different, which is totally fine too, because I think as long as everybody's kind of on board. So for Ronnie, because I think Ronnie already did this lesson off my site. So that's everything on that page, right? Did I cover the whole page? I'm just gonna go back to the page and make sure I did. Yeah, that's the whole page. And then the learning. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment, but everything is changing there. Yeah, Ronnie's still with me. Yay, QB's still with me, doing well. Tanya, you still here? You still good? I don't even know if you answered me, Tanya, how you were doing today. I hope you're doing good. I'm gonna go way back up here. I know we talked about the password for you. We got to get that sorted out. And I'll explain everything to all of you in just a minute, but everything's changing. So your chance to get into that free part of the site is actually ending today. I'll explain it in a minute, but something got all screwed up. I didn't test something in the last 8 weeks of work. It's not like wasn't wasted work. But it's not going to go the direction I thought it can go. Because I did not test something when I should have tested it, and Akshay still here too, yay! Still drunk? That's fun. Guitar lessons drunk. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to bring this back to Ronnie because Ronnie was asking about what I call these movable arpeggios. So we've learned a lot of stuff here today, right? We've learned. Oh, there's this. Abhay. Hey, Teague, that last bit was really interesting. I've been trying to practice sweep picking, and this bit about breaking it would really help. Well, welcome. I think did you just come in? Because I think I just saw the A at the start of your name, and I thought it was Akshay, but it's not. It's kind of funny. It's a similar name, Abhay. Abhay. Oh, Akshay has sobered up. Bummer. QB, I tried to log in, but it failed, and now my password is expired. I requested a new one. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there, QB. It probably shouldn't have expired because I don't think they expire, but yeah, I don't know. I'll try to help you out here in a minute with that. Oh, you've been following for a while. Awesome. Am I saying your name right? Abhay? Ronnie, I think 3 Indians here right now. Well, that's awesome. You're all up late, right? It's like, what, 2 in the morning there? It's awesome. So where are we at? Oh, yes. So let's do a little recap here of everything we've done, because we've talked about a lot. And then we're going to go one step further in with this arpeggio. And then I'm just going to set you guys up with some of the links and let you know about this other live streaming I'm doing on Pocket Live, where I'm writing new tripfuse material live for people watching. And the other day I was writing, and I don't talk to the people as much as I do on here. I'm kind of just like really getting in the writing mode for a new record. And but they can hear my sounds coming from my sound card, well, through my audio interface to myself, so that they should have good sound too, not just crappy speaker sound. And yeah, I was working away writing, and then I flip back to the chat because I do every once in a while to make, you know, see what's what. And there's 108 people watching me write. So it's really cool. It's been this very interesting experience for me, and it's kind of keeping me focused on the writing because I feel like people are watching me write. Like I can't just sit here and like do nothing, as I sometimes do if I'm writing without it. So I've actually been writing daily, spending a little bit of time live streaming while I write on this site called pocketlive.tv. Anyway, I'll put a link here in just a second. But let's sum up what we've done today, and let's go one step further. So we've basically talked about arpeggios. We've talked about chords. So we talked about chords being built from the 1st, 3rd, and 5th degree of a scale. right? And even if we don't really know what a scale is, a lot of us can relate to that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that sound, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So that we'll save for another lesson, or you can find it on the site for a lesson on scales. But for now, David, that would be hard to work with people watching over you. Yeah, you would think, David, but oddly enough, it's doing the opposite for me. It's kind of keeping me focused. So interesting. So anyway, so we did our arpeggio. We learned if we took the first, sorry, we did our scale. We learned if we took the first, third, and fifth note of that scale, we would have an arpeggio and a chord, both, right? Because an arpeggio is just a broken chord. Then we basically took our open C chord. We moved it a whole step higher to give us a D chord, but we had to change the fingering a little bit, and we had to put our first finger across the 3 frets, right? And again, the link, and I'm just going to post it again. I'm only posting it because there's people constantly coming in and out here, so I don't want them to have to scroll through if anybody's just joining us now and they want to take part in everything we just did. So that link I just posted in the chat here. Oh, I did just realize that anybody watching from somewhere else, because this is streaming in other places, they cannot get that link. Sorry, if you're not watching from YouTube and you're watching from musiclearning.com, your best bet at this point to get this material would be just to go open up a new window, whatever, a new tab, and type in arpeggios, musiclearning.com, and you'll get this page that we're looking at. Okay, so we took this C chord, we moved it up a whole step, we barred our first finger, and we had a D chord. For some, that's going to be a very new way to play a D chord, because we know this D chord. You'll actually notice. I'm going to take these two away here for a second. Look what I have. It's this, right? I'm just barring. And to tie that into something else we did earlier, remember when we said that this was a minor chord? If you just bar one finger across strings 1, 2, 3, it's a minor triad. Well, it's a major, so this is F sharp minor here. If I go, if I put my finger there on that second string, I have a D major chord. But watch this. If I put my second finger on the 3rd fret, the 3rd string and the 3rd fret, I have F sharp major. Major, minor. So here, say, remember a minute ago we were talking about A minor. If I put my second finger on the fret ahead of it, it's A major. A major, A minor. Major, minor. And for some of you, you may relate that to this big A minor chord, to this A major. So that one, when I put my second finger over my first finger, I'm adding a little pressure to make those bar chords easier to play. But that's for another whole lesson. We're getting a little off topic, but that's okay. So that was our D chord and our D arpeggio that we just did, and the link on the page here will take you to that. The one thing we talked a little bit and we didn't really finish was we said if you take that C chord and you move it up a whole step, but you leave the E and the G to ring, this becomes like a D chord add 2, because E is the second note of a D scale, and G is the 4th, which would be like an add 4. Very pretty though. Neat. Okay, anyway, totally off track now. So we're trying to sum this all up, and we're adding one last thing to this stream before we sign off of here. So we had our D chord, and we had the arpeggio. The link is in the thing here that you can... Hey! Shada, what are you doing in here? Are you sitting in the dentist chair? I'm glad you made it in. I did not expect that you would make it in because I thought you would be sitting in the dental chair. Or maybe you are. Okay, so C chord, and we said we move that up. Okay, so last thing, here's what we're gonna do. Before we finish this stream up, we're gonna take, haha, don't mind me, carry on. But are you sitting in a dental chair right now? That's my question to you. Okay, so everybody's like, what? Who's he? Okay, all right, here we go. So last thing, Ronnie, are you still with me? Because this is the part I wanted to share with Ronnie. Because I think he'd already done this D major in second. So I just want to take a moment and look at the last three notes we're playing in this arpeggio. And if you're with me on the page, which I kind of hope you are, because it's a lot easier if you're looking at this page at the same time we're doing this stream. Or, you know, if you can open both up and have the, you know, resize your windows so you can look at both, that's the easiest way. But the top three notes, and you can either look at either fretboard, you can look at the fretboard that's horizontal on the page near the top of the page, or you can scroll down and look at the one that's going vertical. But either way, you'll notice that the D, F sharp, which we said was the D chord, that's a D triad, right? The first, third, and fifth note of a D major scale, D, F sharp, and A. So on the first and second string, that D and F sharp and A sit like this. Right? So we have, I probably don't need to explain this at this point, but the third fret of our second string, second fret of your first string, fifth fret of your first string. Shada, you just finished. It's over. And how are you? How did it go? Are you must be out. She was in the dental office today, having a wisdom tooth pulled out. But hopefully all went well. I'm assuming it all did go well because she's on here with us. Okay, so D, F sharp, and A, right? So this is where I want to bring this back, Ronnie, to the first thing we talked about. So if I take this, I'm going to take this D, F sharp, and A, but I'm going to move this D 2 octaves lower. No, sorry, 1 octave lower to my 10th fret of my 6th string. Okay, I've moved to the 10th fret of my 6th string. It's a D. There's my F sharp with my first finger on the 9th fret of the 5th string. And here's my A on the 12th fret of the 5th string. So notice D, F sharp, A. D, F sharp, A. David says, oh, so on the gas. That always makes me feel good. Okay, so do we have that? Are we back in 10th? Are we good? D, F sharp, and A. So now check this out. This next part, to me, was mind-blowing when I learned this years ago. And it is huge for starting to make some serious jumps in your playing and learning the fretboard. Okay, so watch this for a minute. I hope this might seem a little theory heavy for just a second, but I want you to, if you can, bear with me because I want to show you something really neat about the way this instrument is set up. So for the most part, and I'm coming right back to this, so hang tight. For the most part, we say the guitar is tuned in fourths. What does that mean? It means the distance between most of these strings is a fourth. So you know this is our low E, right? And our 5th string is an A. E, F, G, A. An interval of a fourth. It actually sounds like, here comes the bride. Sounds like here comes the bride. The 5th string to the 4th string, 5th string we said is an A, 4th string is a D. A, B, C, D. 4th. Here comes the bride. Okay. D to G, D, E, F, G. 4. Here comes the bride. Now, here's where it's a little bit weird. Our 3rd string is a G string. Our 2nd string is a B. G to B, G, A, B. The 3rd. It doesn't sound like Here Comes the Bride. No, it sounds, oh, when the saints, da-da, oh, when. It's the beginning of a triad. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that we've talked about either, but that will be a G chord. Don't want to get us too far off. Then we have B to E, B, C, D, E. We're back to a fourth. So notice the guitar is tuned almost in fourths entirely, but not quite. Like a violin, cello, viola, they're all tuned in fifths entirely. And a bass is tuned in fourths because a bass doesn't have this B string. Now somebody might say, hey, but a fifth string bass has a low B. Yes, but if it was a low B, B, C, D, E, it's still 4. So basses are tuned entirely in fourths. They don't have to worry about this silly third that gets in the way. And it does get in the way, and it actually makes the instrument, in a lot of ways, kind of difficult to understand because it screws stuff up. But now, back to this D major arpeggio. Here's why I'm playing this like this. If I go from 5 to 6, and then 3 to 4, and then 1 to 2, I never crossed 3 to 2. So I'm dealing nothing with fourths. And what does that mean? That means if I go D, F sharp, A, in 10th position here, 10th of my low E, right? F sharp, 9th of my A, 12th of my A. D, F sharp, A. Actually, a triad is just 3 notes. So like a chord. You'll hear people, you can call it a chord, but officially a triad is just 3 notes. So, so if I just remember how we did this A minor chord earlier, I can call that a chord or a triad. If I add another note to it though, now it has 4 notes. Now I have to call it a chord. But when it's just 3, you can call it a chord or a triad. Hopefully that kind of answered that. Your wife has a QB. My wife has a question. Is sitting beside me. She has a question, or better, a request for you, but she won't interrupt you. Well, no, for sure, interrupt me. Well, here, let me finish this and then interrupt me because this is the end of the stream anyway. So you should interrupt me. So, but back to this for everybody that's hung with me this whole time. So D, F sharp, A, right? If I now put my second finger on a D, and I want to use my second finger because I used my second finger to start this, so I still want to use my second finger. I'm on the 4th string now, and my D is the 12th fret. Here is D, F sharp, A. It's the exact same thing, 1 octave higher. So I have the 12th fret of my 4th string, the 11th fret of my 3rd string, and the 14th fret of my 3rd string. D, F sharp, A. 1 octave higher than this D, F sharp, A. Now, if I go to the 15th fret of my 2nd string, this is also a D, F sharp, A. The same motion. 15th fret, then the 14th fret of my 1st, 17th fret. Now, if you're like, oh, I'm on an acoustic, I can't play that high, fine, let's come back to another key. In fact, on the site, I teach it in the key of G for that reason. But it would be the same. So if I'm in the key of G, I have 3rd fret of my low E, 2nd fret of my 5th string, and 5th fret of my 5th string. So G, B, D. Then I find my G on my 4th string, which is the 5th fret. There's the same thing, G, B, D. Then I find a G on my 2nd string, G, B, D. And you could tap that high G at the top. It's my 80s guitar playing coming back in there. Anybody interested in tapping? I forgot, but I've actually done in the past some really cool tapping lessons, and I kind of forgot about them until just recently. Okay, so hopefully that was fun. So like what I've done in past live streams, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to, so I know we were working off the arpeggio page today. I'm making a new arpeggio page, and which will basically be the same material but cleaned up a little bit, hopefully a little easier to understand, a little easier to use, better audio player like the new pages. But then I will also make a page that will go in the free section, which is about to stop. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. But that will have all of this content because I would like to add some of this other stuff we talked about to that page. And then it will go completely with this live stream, as I've been trying to do with the past live streams. I'm a little behind because I got so much I'm working on with this site. And just to bring anybody up to speed there, basically, I don't have a job anymore. The site makes a little bit of money, but not very much, not enough to pay my bills. And I don't really want to become, I don't want to switch gears and do, I'm 45. I've been a musician my whole life. I want to continue to be a musician. So I'm working very hard and very fast to get this site giving me better results as far as monetary, as far as paying my bills. So, okay, anyway, thank you all for watching. It was super fun. I'm glad you were all in here. Like, it was really, really fun. QB, does your wife want to ask a question? Now's a good time. Let me see if there's anything else I want to cover. So I'm going to stream later today, writing the new Tripfuse song, which it's like, this is the main. But you got to hear where it went. That's just the initial guitar ideas that went crazy. So that site is called pocketlive.tv. So I will just type that in here for you guys. Now, your best bet, oh, I don't even know. Oh, wait, that's probably not going to be a link because it's here. Maybe I'll just open it up and then send you the actual link. Here we go. Okay, I don't know. Here we go. I'm going to post the link now. Okay, that's the link to Pocket Live. And then you'll just have to search my name, Teague Pertel. If you search Tripfuse, I don't know if it comes up, but if you search Teague Pertel, it will. And on that home page there, I will, as soon as this stream is done, I will set up my time for my live stream writing today. So you will also see the big Tripfuse logo. That will have the time that I'll be on today. She wants to ask if you can play Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, just guitar without vocals. Yeah, sure. Akshay, I have a feeling you'll do. That's super sweet. Thank you. I hope so. I hope it's been a very stressful time. My time at the Roxy ended April 7th, and it's been a very stressful time. But you want to hear it on this or on the acoustic behind me? Oops. That's the whole, just a seek and I find in you. Couldn't be much more from the but I love it just in you. And nothing else matters. I can't remember where it goes. Then understand what you know. I don't remember. Sorry, that's as good as it gets. Did she not want me to sing because she didn't want to hear my voice? Which is totally understandable. It's not for everybody. Yeah, thanks, QB. That's awesome. Wait, I missed some stuff here. Ronnie, hey, Teague, today I just learned the arpeggio, what you did at last. You did a lesson with Paul Gilbert. I love Paul Gilbert. Holy crap, he's such a great player. He's so clean. Talk about a technical player. Talk about somebody who knows his arpeggios and knows his fretboard well. That's Paul Gilbert. I actually was going to do, I can't even remember it now because it's a long time ago, but years ago I used to teach this one Paul Gilbert riff, which I felt was a really good educational like riff. I mean, he's got lots of stuff that's educational, but he had this one in particular that was really great, and it was a good one, and I went through a little phase of teaching it to a lot of students, had interest. I have it written down somewhere. I can't think of the name of it. I can't, but maybe I'll bring that back up. That would be fun. Even with the vocals, it was awesome. Yeah, cool. I did a cover of it on YouTube, right? It's pretty crappy camera. It's old, but I actually play it and sing it. I think I still had dreads when I did it. But there's a cover. If you search for my name and Nothing Else Matters cover, it'll come up. Yeah, Abhay, thanks for the best on the new songs. I'd love to, for if you guys, you know, I mean, I know the later stream today probably won't work for you. If you guys are all in India, it's going to get even, you know, to the morning. But if I stream tonight at 8 or 9 tonight, which I may very well, then and I might even stream later than that, then that will be that might be possible for you guys to check out. So hey Teague, I have a friend who wants to become a guitarist and a singer, and he's about to begin his sound engineering course. Good. You help him, think it'll help him become a musician. Yeah, for sure. Sound engineering, yeah, because it's, you're working with the same stuff. And most really good sound engineers actually have a fairly good knowledge of music, rhythm, chords, theory, right? Because if you're a sound engineer and you have a band come in and they don't know that stuff, as happens so often with so many bands, and they're trying to harmonize a vocal part, and they're like, well, I don't know what to sing. So like the one guy singing, yeah, this guy singing that. And you know, the sound engineer or producer might go, well, okay, well, you're playing a D chord, somebody's singing a D. The other person should sing F sharp, so we hear this together. Somebody's got a D, somebody's got an F sharp, right? And it'll sound good. And actually, if you watch me doing the Pocket Live streaming, you will see I do a lot of that. I tend to do a lot of 3- and 4-part vocals. So you will hear a lot of, again, I'm not necessarily always talking to the people as I'm doing it, but you can hear what I'm doing. And they're in the process of making this pro app for it, which will allow me to screen share, which will be really, really cool. And I think the open broadcasting thing I just got to make that work is going to let me screen share on YouTube. So I'm going to, for next Saturday's live stream, I'm going to see if I can't get that all working properly with the screen share and you hearing the sound from my sound card. Because if we can get there for YouTube, which I know we can, it's going to make for such a great live stream, because I can screen share the material with you that I'm looking at. I can create drum beats and bass lines and guitar parts while we're doing the stream. Like if we want to have stuff to jam over, and then again we'll throw this all in the site, which leads me to believe before I finish this up, I should talk a little bit a moment just about the site and what's happening, so you know what's going on there. Let's see, what do I miss here? QB. I hope I get into the site as well. Yeah, you for sure, QB should come check out the site. I'll explain what's happening there right now to give you guys an idea. And then Ronnie, can you show me the triad shapes all over the fretboard in the next live stream? Yes, absolutely. That would be a great one, Ronnie. That'll be for next Saturday. You know what? I'll make a little note, because I don't really have, like I said, I don't necessarily have a real plan. I'm kind of winging it a little bit. So triads next Saturday. And we'll do major and minor triads. Yeah, I think, were you in the live stream, Ronnie, where we did the diatonic triads in the key of C going up the fretboard like this? C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. That one was a live stream I did not long ago. Anyway, we'll do that next week again, though. I love that. You know, it's nothing better than you all giving me content for next week's live stream. Then I don't have to really think about what I'll do, which I love. So so here's where we're at as far as the site for anybody who cares that's still in here. So as you know, my gig last 6 years, oh, you missed that live stream, eh, Ronnie? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll do it next week. It's okay. I'll do it again, because I don't, you know, I think the people popping into the live stream, sometimes it's the same people, and sometimes it's, Tanya, you still with us? Sometimes it's different people, so I'm sure we can do it again. Yes, nice, because it's a good left-handed exercise, absolutely. So anyway, what happened with the site? So since my gig ended, right, the last 6 years, I've been playing 3 to 4 nights a week at the Roxy in downtown Vancouver. A lot of fun, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of craziness, but a lot of fun. But that ended on April 7th. And then prior to that gig, I was teaching a lot in person. But when that gig started rolling, I kind of started teaching less and less, because it was hard. It was hard to play that much and teach that much. And I have 2 boys, right? So anyway, so I'm not teaching in person very much right now, not enough to pay the bills. So that gig came to an end. There was a moment of panic, like, uh-oh, what do I do? And I've had this site since 1999, and I've always wanted it to become something that, you know, could pay the bills, right? But because I love to write, and I have my band Tripfuse, and I've always been involved in these other bands, and it always just kind of sat. I'd work on it, but never like the level I needed to. So since the gig ended, I have been working full time on the site, and I'm just using my savings, which I'm going to run out of in another about 2 months. So in that time, I'm learning all about Facebook advertising. I'm trying to turn the site kind of into a sales machine, essentially, but with good content, right? It's not like I'm trying to trick anybody. The content is real, it's valid. I've spent many, many years compiling it and putting it together, so I've just never been very good at selling it. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Anyway, so what I've been doing since that gig ended was I was trying to create this free access membership section that some of you are a part of. And if you go today, you can still be a part of it if you do it here soon. It's going to end by tonight, because the idea for it was that it was going to have a drip content. In other words, each week there would be more material for 4 weeks in a series. And then at the end of it, if you wanted to become a paying member, you could become a paying member. Well, I did not test the whole system when I started working on it. And as it turns out, I cannot drip free content. You can only drip to paying members. So what that means is I can't do what I just spent 8 weeks setting up. And so I went to test it, and I'm not even kidding. I was meeting with a marketing guy for the first time since I started my site. I've never met with anybody in marketing. I was meeting with somebody on Friday, and Thursday night, because I wanted to make sure it was all in place for him, so when we met, we could look at it and talk about it. So Thursday, I tested it. I put all the stuff in place, and then I logged in as a free member, and it didn't work right. And then I started reading about it, and I came to the conclusion that I cannot actually do that with a free member. That drip content can only work with paid members. So I was like, oh. So talk about a little bit of a, you know, now what? It was a little bit discouraging at first, but then I came up with some other ideas. So now it's going to switch again. So that limited free access thing is going away. I do, however, think I may leave it up just for past live streams, possibly. So I'm not sure about that, but that is a thought at the moment, that it stays up, but the only thing that is in it is past live streams. So for anybody who wants to watch this live stream later, they have to become a part of this membership, but it's a free membership. So I'll name it differently. I'm not going to call it limited access membership anymore. We'll name it, I don't know what we'll name it. Anybody have a good idea for a name? That would be good. We'll name it something else, and it'll be this community. I already have the Facebook comments set up on it. So it'll be this little community of people who watch the streams, can come in, we can comment, you know, we can have a little message board on there to one another, and we'll kind of keep it all about, well, look, we'll create this little live streaming community essentially that's contained inside this member section that you have to sign in to get in. Actually, I like that idea. I think that's what we'll do. But outside of that, now what's going to happen is basically there's just the member section, but it's going to be $1 to get in for a trial membership for 1 week. But at the end of that week, you go on reoccurring billing for $19 a month. So that's where it's switching over today and tomorrow. So, oh, it's my sister, and I so want to talk to her. Hold on 1 second. I will. Hello. How are you? I'm live streaming at the moment, so just can I call you back in just 1 minute? Because I'm almost done. I'm live streaming on YouTube. I got something really exciting to tell you about live streaming on Pocket Live. It's so cool. Anyway, this live stream is just finishing up. I was just doing the thing, and I said, oh, I'm going to pick this phone. So they're watching me talk to you. So you want to say hi? Wait, here, out there. Say again. That's my. Oh. Okay, I'll call you back in like five minutes. Okay, bye. Okay, that's my sister. I don't get to talk to her very often, and we've been playing phone tag for the last, I don't know. So I wanted to pick it up so she'd know I'd call her back. Okay, sorry about that. I'll tell her you said hi, QB. Okay, so where are we at? Yes, so the site. So basically, there is going to be no what it was before. Now, I'll tell her you said hello, Abe. I hope I'm saying that right. So now it's basically going to be $1. It might be $3. I don't know. The marketing guy I met with said make it $1, and it'll be 7-day trial, but it's full access. And then if you don't cancel it in the 7 days, you go on a reoccurring billing. So that's where we're at. I thought I'd bring everybody up to speed on that. Yeah, that's it. So I hope everybody had fun. I had a lot of fun. This was a good live stream for me today. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed being here with you all. I really love the questions. I love the request. It was fun to do the Metallica thing, QB, for your wife. That was really fun. And I'm saying it right, Abe. Cool. I like that name. It's awesome. I'm not even going to attempt at the Kumar. I can probably say that. Abe Kumar. Sing? Yeah. I'm going to get better at some of these names for sure. It's fun. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm so glad you all were here with me today. And yeah, and like I said, I will, like Ronnie, if you're still listening, this won't be the only live stream time that I do. I will do other times, I know, because this is not working very well for you all that are all here in India. And I appreciate you all staying up and watching at this hour. That's awesome. So I promise I will do other live streams at other times. I'll give some thought to that. Just for this little while, I'm going to just leave it at Saturday at 1, okay? Like maybe for the next month or something, just while I'm getting everything else together. And then I will figure some stuff out, and I promise that I will try to make it, you know, maybe I don't know what my plan is yet. I really don't know. It could be anything from streaming daily on YouTube to streaming once a week. I don't know. And whether the time stays the same or changes, I don't know. But since I have not tried having the same time for a while, that's what I'm just testing here. So just for the next little bit, I'm going to do Saturdays at 1. So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say one more time, I love that you were all in here. So cool, so fun, great live stream. Thanks for being in here. Musiclearning.com is the site, as I think you all know. But anybody watching on the replay, yeah, come check it out. Come be a part of this community with us all. And yeah, hope to see you in here. And I'll see you next Saturday at 1 Pacific Standard Time. Oh, and then don't forget, pocketlive.tv. I will be live streaming the writing of the new record. Just the one song today, but other songs too. So don't forget that. You can just check it out, and it's a really cool site. It's really fun. It's free to join. You might want to join just because it's fun. It's like almost like a game. You can like level up. You can send people props and flowers, and it's this neat live streaming community that's very different. Anyway, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's I love doing these streams. So super fun. So good night, everybody. Thanks again for watching. And we'll see you next Saturday at 1 Pacific Standard Time. Musiclearning.com is the site, so come check it out and come be part of all of this with me. Okay, later, guys and girls. Thank you so much.